Hey folks, how's it going? This is Iron Seagull here, back with another discussion video. So at this point in time, we've had two different sets of voting for two community stuff packs so far. One which ended up being Laundry Day, and then the second one ended up being Nifty Knitting. To get these two packs, we had to go through a bunch of different voting rounds, where it started off with a more broad scale, where we had to choose one theme with one feature to go along with it, and then later on we decide the more nitty-gritty stuff like the create a sim items and the objects. Of course, that would mean that plenty of potentially cool ideas would have to be left on the cutting room floor, just like in actual game development. Though it is interesting that some ideas from these votes have still managed to make it into the game anyways, such as with the eco-living vote that won the theme for the first community voted stuff pack. We ended up getting Laundry Day, but then we got pretty much all of the other ideas through the Eco Lifestyle expansion pack years later. Of course, there is another example of this that is very recent, the Paranormal Stuff Pack, because the theme that actually came in second for the Nifty Knitting vote was the Happy Haunts theme, and it had a lot of the ideas that were in this stuff pack, such as the seance table, a ghost hunting career, as well as a haunted lot type. Even though not every single idea from the Happy Haunts theme was revived for this stuff pack, I'm glad we got the majority of them. So this video, I'm going to talk about my favorite ideas from the past two community stuff pack votes that I would still love to see in the game at some point. Let's start out by going through the general themes of the very first community stuff pack vote. So eco-living, that's the one that ended up winning, so I don't really need to talk about that. And then we got starter home stuff. Customize your household with affordable, pre-owned furniture and clothing that's perfect for Sims just starting out or struggling to get by. Potential areas of focus include space-saving furniture and yard sale items. So I guess Tiny Living touched upon this a tiny bit with the space-saving part. However, I think it would be nice to have a stuff pack that focuses on genuinely crappy, rundown furniture. I feel with The Sims, they tend to focus a lot more on the cleaner side of things, so it would be good to have more stuff to go in the opposite direction, and it would be a pretty easy way of having some items that are distinct among the 30+ DLC we have now. And then, moving on to arcade stuff, take your Sims to an arcade for an afternoon of entertainment with friends. Potential areas of focus include arcade activities, games of skill, and social experiences. I think bowling night should have been this instead, where bowling would have just been one of the features, and then we could have had a couple of arcade machines, maybe an air hockey table. I remember that's from The Sims Bustin' Out. That'd be a cool object to see on the PC side, because yeah, that's still to this day something that we've only had on the console version. This arcade stuff doesn't really need to be in a stuff pack by itself though. I could also imagine this fitting into a hobbies sort of game pack or expansion pack, something that I've been begging for a long time now. I'm gonna do a sort of twist with the next one. We're gonna go back and forth between this first one and the second community vote. So dangerous stuff, live life on the edge by subjecting your Sims to new dangers that celebrate the afterlife. Potential areas of focus include Sim deaths, funeral experiences, and the Grim Reaper. This idea by itself, I think, yeah, was my least favorite in the first community stuff pack vote, but I think it could go very well with the Happy Haunts features we still don't have yet, which includes the Grim Reaper Freelancer career, where you can ease Grim's workload by preventing deaths or reaping souls, follow the tenets of the Grim Reaper Society and uphold the sacred laws, or build your personal wealth by letting Sims live longer, for a price. And we don't have the Psychic Freelancer career either, where you would use mystic cards to tell fortunes from home, or set up a table in the park to tell the fortunes of passers-by. Run a website to offer online readings, horoscopes, and vlogs. Earn extra income as a telephone psychic. Yeah, that last one I think would be a pretty nice nod to The Sims 1 in particular, where sometimes you would get this fake psychic calling you where it's like, oh, they're coming for you, get ready, and that sort of stuff. I don't remember what all of them were. It was a long time since I played The Sims 1. But I think those two careers could also go well alongside funerals, and I could imagine that forming its own sort of game pack. The last idea I'm going to go over in the first community stuff pack vote is wedding stuff. Make your Sims big day an even bigger celebration with new wedding content and experiences. Potential areas of focus include wedding customization, the ceremony, and cultural diversity. This I can absolutely imagine being a stuff pack, but they have to fix one core issue with the game first if they are ever going to do any sort of pack that focuses on adding more stuff for weddings. And it's to have Sims actually sit down during the ceremony and not stand up or dance or anything like that. I remember it working perfectly fine in The Sims 2. I'm not sure why in The Sims 4 they just seem to not get it to work right at all. So that's definitely important, and I can imagine this is the reason why a wedding stuff pack has still not happened. But I do find it very intriguing how they even have cultural diversity as one of the ideas for how to do weddings. That just makes me super curious. And there is a couple of concept art pieces they did release eventually, even though the theme lost. And this was for a country-themed sort of wedding, and I like how this looks too. I think this would be very popular with the community if they managed to ever make this happen. Now we move on to the more recent community stuff pack vote. We'll start with arts and crafts. So this is the theme that won, but we only got knitting out of this so far, and it did end up being pretty accurate to what they proposed. So what's left is the pottery wheel, where you can make things like bowls, vases, teapots, cups, and more, and then you can paint them with unique patterns and colors. Embroidering for pillows, tablecloths, towels, and cross-stitch decorations. There's also the glass fabrication station to create a variety of lamps, vases, stained glass, decorative decor, and works of art. They also throw in this idea of hosting a museum gala to showcase creations, and that intrigues me because I keep forgetting museums even exist in The Sims 4. I find them pretty useless, so that could be one thing to make them a bit more appealing, though I still don't feel like that would solve the problem for me. I would love to have more hands-on sort of exhibits that would make sense in museums. Then maybe I could imagine myself going back to them more often. But having a gala would be interesting too. And you can also have an option to create edible art comprised of fruits and vegetables. Start simple by carving a watermelon punch bowl, and then advance to create lavish centerpieces as well as gorgeous bouquets of carved fruits. I don't know if the edible art would be that interesting on its own, or even, I'm not sure if I want any of these in an individual stuff pack. Kind of like with the arcade pack idea, this especially could make sense in a hobbies game pack or expansion pack. Another theme that we could vote on was fun tech, and the thing I definitely liked the most out of all of these was the virtual putting green, where you can practice your putting skills first and then put them to the test on a mini golf circuit, where you can mix and match decor to create a custom mini golf course in the backyard, indoors, or at a venue. Because we've had this sort of thing in Make It Magic before, but they were just a few pre-made holes you couldn't really do anything with. You couldn't really decide the order that they were played in either. So I would love to see this really fleshed out for the first time ever in the Sims franchise, where it can be a full-on course. I'd have so much fun with that. And it'd be really interesting to see what sort of mini golf venues that other people would build and upload to the gallery and share with everyone. While this is yet another thing that I can imagine being put into a hobbies game pack or expansion pack, there's only so much that they're willing to put into something like that, so I can still imagine this being its own stuff pack, especially considering how much gameplay paranormal stuff had. So yeah, mini golf stuff, maybe that's a stuff pack we'll get in the future. Another idea was the Void Critter Locator device, which allows Sims to find adorable digital aliens around their neighborhood and track the whereabouts of the crafty little creatures and take photos of them all to unlock unique rewards like Void Critter action figures, comic books, and fun clothing. So, I actually demonstrated in yesterday's video, which was an episode of my Snowy Escape Let's Play, that this somewhat exists in the game now because of Snowy Escape's Youth Festival, though it's now reading this back not nearly as cool as what this is. So it would be interesting if they had fit in rewards like action figures and comic books and clothing and that sort of stuff, and it just sounds overall deeper than what we had at the Youth Festival. I just don't imagine it really happening since we already have it in a pack and they kind of had that one shot to do it. So I don't think it would really make sense to have two Void Critter Locator games in two different packs that would end up being similar, but one is just better than the other. The next gameplay idea involves having both an exercise bike and a treadmill that would provide a virtual experience, like biking in a snowstorm, down a city street, or through a forest with a widescreen monitor and unique audio for each scenario. This sounds kind of cool having that twist, but I'm really glad this did not win, because then it absolutely would have been my first fitness stuff, as I'm sure a lot of people in the comments would joke about. But I really hope that one day we will get the exercise bike back. I don't really need the whole virtual experience thing, but this definitely needs to be in a Hobbies game pack, for sure. This is something that I don't think needs to be its own stuff pack. I'm not really into the portable hologram or sports screen ideas either. The portable hologram basically sounds like what the Familia should have been in Realm of Magic, so just update Realm of Magic. And the sports screen sounds very similar to an object that we already have in the base game, where it is like a big sort of virtual reality sort of thing. It doesn't actually take up too much space, but yeah, this sounds like, I don't know, it doesn't sound like it'd be that interesting. There's two more themes, and I don't feel like spending too much time on either of them. I find them a little less interesting than the others. But for self-care routines, this was another theme, and most of this, if not all of it, could have made a lot of sense as part of Spa Day. But the two I like the most are the Fitness Watch, where you can track your Sims' daily activities and compare them with the other Sims in your neighborhood, and the Healthy Living Aspiration, where you can strive to live the healthiest life possible and receive gameplay bonuses for eating healthy foods and unlock unique exercises and recipes, and even become a healthy lifestyle coach as a freelancer career and help other Sims improve their health. This actually sounds like an appealing aspiration to me that would integrate very well into core gameplay, instead of it just being a tutorial for the newest content. So I would love to see that in the future. I would like to see the smoothie blender, but this is not enough to carry a stuff pack on its own. It would be really nice to have more drinks in the game that are not all about your Sims getting juiced. But then the custom teas and herbal infusions, I think this would make more sense as a free update. We already have tea in the game. I wouldn't mind seeing the vegan trait, but again, I'm not sure if this is enough to carry a stuff pack on its own, but I think it could make a lot of sense as part of a farming expansion pack. Lastly, we have the science and technology theme. Maybe it's just because I'm not really much of a science guy, but none of these really appeal to me, especially as a stuff pack. But what they have are building blocks, food science, STEM kits, a desktop microscope, and a portable telescope. I do think we need a portable telescope, but this should not carry a stuff pack. Absolutely not. We should have had this when the game first came out. So just put this in as a free update or as a very small side feature of another pack. I guess I'm going to mention the theoretical Hobbies game pack or expansion pack yet again. I guess these themes have a lot in common with the second community stuff pack, but where a lot of this makes sense as Hobbies. But yeah, we really should not have to pay an extra $10 for a portable telescope that we should have had in the game a long time ago. Before I end this video, there is one last thing I want to show you, which is this board of ideas that SimGuru Graham tweeted a long time ago. It was sometime during the first Community Stuff Pack vote when we were going to vote on the gameplay. This was just a bunch of the ideas that they had for that, and it is really interesting, especially in 2021, seeing how many of those things we have now. I mean, I don't think I need to name every single one of these that we have. I'll let you just pause and look through the list, but there's definitely some things that came true eventually, like the bees and beekeeping in seasons, and there's a lot of these things in eco-lifestyle, like bill reduction and wind turbines and recycling and the eco-friendly trait, which is basically Green Fiend, and the vertical hanging gardens. The chicken coop is in there, so hopefully we could still see that in a farming expansion pack. Even Freegans is there, and tiny home furniture, yep, that is the tiny living stuff pack. There are a few things in this list that I'd still like to see, like tapping the trees for maple syrup, and jam making, and soap making. Allergies, I think, could be potentially interesting as well. I also find it funny that light switches are mentioned because we've never had those as official content in The Sims before. There's mods, but yeah, that's never been done before, and it's just one of those little things that could be interesting. But light switches really should just be part of a free update. It's not restricted to a paid DLC. I don't think it'd be that expensive to make. Alright, that's basically the end of this video. This ended up being much longer than I planned, but there's a lot to go over. So feel free to let me know in the comment section below which of these ideas are your favorite and which of them you'd like to see in the game in some form. And be sure to subscribe if you want to keep up with my latest gaming content, including life simulation games and more. So I will talk to you all later, and have a great day. Thanks for watching!